Hello everyone, this is grade 6, module 2, lesson 1 problem set. The directions say, find the value of each of the following in its simplest form. So I'm going to be jumping around a little bit. Let's do question 1, I'll start with 1b. And I won't do all of these, but I'll do a few of them here and there. So it says 2/5 divided by 4. What this is really saying is I have to find a fourth or a quarter of 2/5. So the first thing I want to start with is I'm going to draw a box and I'm going to break it into fifths. And I'm going to shade one of them. And then a second one. So there's my 2/5 right there. Well, what I need to do is break it into 4 equal pieces. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to break it the other direction. So I'm cutting it this way, and now I have fourths going across. Now, I only am really looking at the amount shaded for one of these 4 pieces, because I'm breaking it into 4 pieces. I'm looking right here. So my numerator is still 2, because that's one of the 4s, one of the 4 pieces for this. So when I divide by 4, I'm looking for a fourth. So I have 2. Now I got to count up however many boxes there are total here for my denominator. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know I have, if that's 5, that's 10, 15, 20. So 2/20ths. Now what I need to do is put that into simplest form. And I know that both of those can be divided by 2. It's really a 2/2, which is a 1, so that's going to give me 1/10. Let's try another one. We'll go down to 2a. And again, I have 2/5 divided by 3, meaning I need to find a third of 2/5. I have to actually find, I'm breaking this into 3 equal pieces. So again, I'm going to start by making this showing 2/5. And then I got to break this 2/5 into 3 equal pieces by going this direction. So that's where I'm dividing it. Now I'm looking for one of the thirds. So there's the shaded part of one of the thirds, which is still 2. And what I need to do now is figure out how many total boxes I have in this entire piece. So I have 5, 10, 15. So it's going to be 2/15. So this is telling me what I'm shading first. This is telling me the horizontal partitions I have to do. I have to break it into thirds. The reason why I circle this top part is because that's what happens when I divide it by 3. That's one of the thirds. That's my numerator. But it's still out of the entire amount that I have. That's my denominator. So let's go over to C. And this one's kind of a little more tricky because there's a lot more lines to draw. So I'm going to do 5/8. So I got to break this into 8s. And I'm going to do it kind of an interesting way. Just helps me out, but I have 8s there, so now I need to shade 5 of those. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my horizontal tells me I have to break it into tenths. So 10 equal pieces. So there's half, and I know I got to do 5 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to get a little dicey. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're seeing that the higher the number we get, the more times I'm going to have to break this up. So I know that I'm looking at one of those tenths, one of those 10 pieces that I broke it into, because that's what I'm dividing by. So it's actually the whole piece that I had shaded, sorry, because these were all shaded. So it's 5 of them. And then, how many total pieces do I have? Well, I know that I drew 8s across here. and now I have 10 of those, so 10 times 8 is 80. So 5/80ths. And I can simplify this down by a 5 over 5, which is still 1. And it's going to end up as 1/16. So we're going to look at two more of them. And now we're going to start branching over to, I'll show the diagram and then I'll show the multiplication piece of it. So when we look at this, we have 6/7. So I'm going to draw the diagram again. I got to break it into sevenths and then shade 6 of them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is telling me I got to divide it into 3 equal pieces. I'm actually trying to find 1/3 of 6/7. So I break it into thirds. And again, I'm looking at the shaded part for 1/3 of it because I'm breaking this into thirds. So I'm looking at just this shaded piece, which is 6. And then for my denominator, I need all of the pieces for the entire amount. So I know that I had 7 in each row, and there's 3 of them, so that's 21. Now, before I simplify that down, I want to go back and try to show you this with the multiplication piece. So when we divide by 3, we're trying to find 1/3 of the 6/7, meaning we're either dividing or we got that key word of, meaning multiplication. So I can really do 1/3 times 6/7. And we know with our multiplication of fractions, we're going to multiply the numerator, so 1 times 6 is 6, and 3 times 7 is 21. And notice, this is the same as this. Now, why does that work? Because when we divide by 3, which we did, it's the same as multiplying by 1/3. Because we're trying to find 1/3 of 6/7. We can either do that by dividing by 3 and making 3 equal parts, or we can multiply by 1/3 because we're trying to find 1/3 of the 6/7. So now what I do is once I get my answer is I'm just going to simplify this down, and I'll get 2/7. So that's the way I want to look for B, because B, now we have a fraction greater than 1, so the diagram looks quite a bit different, and it's a little more challenging for it, but I don't really have to do that because I have a division of 5, or when I'm dividing by 5, I'm trying to find 1/5 of 10/8. And 1/5 of 10/8 means 1/5 times 10/8. So I can do 1 times 10 is 10, and I can do 5 times 8 is 40, and I know that I can divide by a 1/2 of 10 over 10 to get me 1/4, because they both end in a 0. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at a few of the word problems. Let's look at, we'll say 5 and then 7. So 5 says, what is the width of a rectangle with an area of 5/8 inches squared and a length of 10 inches? So I know immediately that area equals length times width. They gave me my area of 5/8, and they gave us the length of 10 inches, and we need to find the W, or the width. So I know that I can, it's 10 times something will get me this, or this 5/8 divided by 10 will get me my W, or my width. And I know that I can draw my 5/8 and then break it into 10 equal pieces. Or I can say I'm looking for 1/10 of 5/8. And again, I know that the word of means multiplication for in this instance. So 1 times 5 is 5. 10 times 8 is 80. And now all I would have to do is figure out what can go into 5 and 80. And that's going to be 5 over 5 because that's a 1 whole. And I get 1 there. And I'll get 16. So 1/16. Let's go down to the last part, 7, and I'll zoom out so we can see it. Bo paid bills with 1/2 of his paycheck and put 1/5 of the remainder in savings. The rest of his paycheck he divided equally among college accounts of his 3 children. What fraction of his paycheck went into each child's account? So the first thing I want to do is draw this out so I can get a good visual. And this is for A. I know that half of his paycheck went to bills. And then it says 1/5 of the remainder. So I'm going to break apart from here over into fifths. And I know this amount, and I'm going to shade this for bills, this amount went to savings. So now the rest of his paycheck he divided equally among the college accounts of his 3 children. Well, we have to figure this out first because it's not, there's 4/5 of the remainder left, but we need to know the whole amount. So if I broke half of this second half into fifths, I want to do that to the other side too. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I know it's not partitioned equally, sorry. But now total, I can now see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tenths. So I'm working with tenths because I broke this second half into fifths, so I got to break this first half into fifths. So I'm looking at tenths. So the bills was half or 5/10. The amount that he put into savings was 1/5 of the remainder, but that's actually 1/10 of the whole amount. So it looks like my bills and my savings for Bo were 6/10 because I add them together, leaving 4/10 to the 3 children's account. So I gotta break that up evenly among the 3 kids. So I'm gonna divide it by 3. Now I could draw a diagram for this, or I could say that I know that when I'm dividing by 3, it means I'm taking 1/3 of the number. So I'm taking 1/3 of 4/10. And I know that when I take 1/3 of something, I'm actually multiplying. So 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 10 is 30. So each kid will get 4/30ths of his paycheck. But I see that they're both even numbers, so I'm going to simplify this down the best that I can. And that's going to leave me at 2/15. So what fraction of his paycheck went into each child's account? 2/15 of his paycheck did. Now for B, if Bo deposited $400 in each child's account, how much money was in Bo's original paycheck? So for this one, 2 of the units, we know that 2/15 equals $400. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to get this down to one of the units of 15, so 1/15th. And the way I can do that is I know I have two, so to go to 1/15th, it's just breaking it in half, so I just need to know what's half of 400. That's 200. So one of the 15 units is worth 200. I need to know all of the 15 pieces. So if one of them is 200, then 2 would equal 400. And I could keep counting up, or I could just say if one of them is equal to 200, then I want to find 15 of them. And it's going to get me 3,000 when I multiply that out. So Bo, his original paycheck was $3,000. I'd take that. So, hope this helps. Thanks for watching, and good luck on the rest of your problem set.